Aqua Earth Explorer.
Off the southern coast of Japan, the Pacific Ocean hides something that doesn't belong. It sits beneath the waves like a forgotten ruin, vast, angular, and impossibly precise. Divers call it the Yonaguni Monument. Scientists call it a geological anomaly. And to everyone who's descended upon it, it feels like standing on the edge of an underwater mystery that refuses to give up its secrets. This story begins not in an ancient time, but in 1986, with a single diver, a strong current, and a discovery that would spark nearly 4 decades of debate. The diver's name was Kihachiro Aratake. He ran a small scuba shop on Yonaguni Island, the westernmost inhabited point of Japan. It's a place where the ocean feels infinite, powerful, unpredictable, alive. Aratake wasn't out hunting for lost cities. He was scouting a new dive route, one known for hammerhead sharks. But as he drifted over a rocky ridge, something strange caught his eye. Below him, the seafloor dropped away, not into sand or coral, but into stone. Massive stone blocks, cut by right angles and rising in steps, like a submerged ziggurat. He followed the contour down, tracing the sharp edges with his gloved hand. It felt intentional, built, like someone had carved an entire complex and then forgotten it. When he surfaced, the first words out of his mouth were, "I think I found a pyramid underwater." At first, nobody took him seriously. Yonaguni is surrounded by cliffs and rock ledges, natural, familiar terrain. But when Aratake showed his video footage, the laughter stopped. Even the skeptics had to admit, it looked engineered. Over the next few years, divers and scientists began visiting Yonaguni to see for themselves. What they found was staggering. The structure stretched over 50 meters long and nearly 25 meters tall, with multiple terraces stacked like giant steps. There were platforms, columns, corridors, and even what looked like a grand staircase descending into the blue. To the untrained eye, it looked like the remains of a temple complex, the kind you'd expect to find in Egypt or Peru, not off a sleepy Japanese fishing island. Soon, the theories began to flow like current. One camp, led by geologists, said it had to be a natural formation. The region's sandstone and mudstone layers fracture cleanly along plains when stressed by earthquakes, and Yonaguni sits right on a fault line. Over millennia, tectonic pressure, erosion, and sea level rise could have sculpted these perfect edges. Nature, after all, is capable of astonishing symmetry. Look long enough at a basalt column or a salt crystal, and you'll swear it was built by someone with a ruler. But another camp, just as passionate, wasn't buying it. Among them was marine geologist Professor Masaki Kimura from the University of the Ryukyus. He dove Yonaguni more than 100 times, measuring, mapping, and documenting. To him, there were too many straight lines, too many right angles, too many clear terraces for it all to be coincidence. Kimura identified what he believed were walls, roads, and even a massive stone head, a sculpture with eyes and a mouth weathered by centuries underwater. He theorized that the monument was once part of a lost civilization, perhaps an ancient city that sank when sea levels rose at the end of the last ice age, some 10,000 to 12,000 years ago. That timeline alone would rewrite history. If true, it would make the Yonaguni Monument older than the pyramids, older than Stonehenge, perhaps one of the earliest signs of complex human construction anywhere on Earth. Some even connected it to the legendary lost continent of Mu, the Pacific's own version of Atlantis. According to old myths, Mu was a vast civilization that vanished beneath the waves after a cataclysmic event. Most scientists dismissed the story as fiction, but Yonaguni gave it a strange new pulse. The skeptics, of course, pushed back hard. They pointed out that no tools, pottery, or artifacts have ever been found around the site. No carvings, no bones, no trace of human habitation. Without evidence, the monument remained a geological curiosity, not an archaeological site. But the believers argued that time and the ocean erase everything. After 12,000 years, even metal would corrode, wood would dissolve, and sand would swallow the rest. All that might remain are the stones themselves, the silent skeleton of a civilization lost to the sea. For divers, none of this really mattered. Because theories aside, the experience of diving Yonaguni is unforgettable. It sits roughly 25 to 35 meters deep, depending on tides, and the currents are legendary. They sweep through the channel between Yonaguni and Taiwan with incredible force, often strong enough to push a diver sideways like a leaf in the wind. You drop in holding a descent line, bubbles streaming past your mask, and the world below shimmers into focus, a wall of perfectly chiseled rock. The monument rises from the seafloor in clean geometric planes. As you lean closer, your perspective shifts. What seemed small from above towers over you like an underwater fortress. You drift along terraces so flat they could serve tea, past steps wide enough for giants. The water presses in, quiet except for the hiss of your regulator and the rush of current in your ears. And then it hits you, that eerie sense of contradiction. You're floating through something that feels both natural and constructed, ancient and eternal. Your mind flips back and forth between science and story, unable to settle on either. Because down here, surrounded by blue silence, both feel possible. Many divers say the experience is almost spiritual, not because of what it is, but because of what it represents, how much of our world we still don't understand. Over the years, researchers have used sonar mapping and photogrammetry to capture the monument in detail. Some scans reveal symmetrical terraces and sharp drop-offs, while others suggest softer, natural erosion patterns. The data, as always, refuses to take sides. Professor Kimura once claimed to have identified not just one structure, but an entire complex, including nearby formations that might have been roads, a castle, and even a stadium. He believed the site could extend for kilometers across the ocean floor, part of a civilization he called the Lost City of Mu. Critics countered that many of these shapes are simply wishful thinking, pareidolia, the human tendency to see patterns where none exist. A face in the clouds, a city in the stones. But here's the thing about mystery. It thrives on ambiguity, and Yonaguni offers that in abundance. Even if every scientist agreed tomorrow that it's purely geological, Yonaguni would still be one of the most extraordinary dive sites on Earth. Its vast, cathedral-like structure captures the imagination like few places can. It reminds us that nature can outdo human architecture, that erosion and time can sculpt forms that mirror our own creations. And yet, for those who believe, or simply want to believe, Yonaguni is proof that we've forgotten entire chapters of our history. It whispers that humanity might be far older, far more capable than we currently think. When you ascend from a Yonaguni dive, there's a moment, right before you break the surface, when you look down and catch one last glimpse of the monument fading into the blue. It looks ancient, eternal, and heartbreakingly beautiful. You wonder what stories it could tell if the ocean ever loosened its grip. Since that first dive in 1986, countless expeditions have tried to decode it. From television specials to university studies to fringe theorists with sonar rigs. And every time the conclusion is the same. There's something down there that doesn't quite fit in our current picture of the world. Some scientists propose a compromise, that the monument began as a natural formation, but was later shaped or enhanced by human hands. Perhaps early settlers of Yonaguni Island carved steps into existing rock, turning a natural plateau into a ceremonial site. When sea levels rose, their handiwork was swallowed by the ocean. That explanation, at least, satisfies both logic and wonder. But even then, it raises new questions. Who were these people? How did they live? And what else might be hidden beneath the waves, waiting to be found? Because here's the truth. The ocean floor around Japan is only partially mapped. Globally, less than a quarter of the seabed has been charted in detail. For all our satellites and sonar, most of Earth remains uncharted territory, which means Yonaguni might not be the only mystery down there. It might just be the first we stumbled upon. Kihachiro Arataki, the man who discovered it, still dives to this day. He said in interviews that he doesn't care whether scientists call it natural or man-made. To him, it's simply beautiful. And maybe that's enough. Because whether you believe in lost civilizations or tectonic coincidences, Yonaguni embodies something deeper, our endless curiosity. It's proof that humans are wired to explore, to wonder, to seek meaning even in the face of uncertainty. The ocean, after all, has always been our greatest mirror. We project our myths and mysteries onto its depths because it reflects what we most want to find: connection, discovery, possibility. So next time you look out over the sea, remember, just beneath that surface might lie a monument to everything we've forgotten. A stone puzzle from a time before memory. A reminder that our planet still holds secrets vast enough to humble us. Whether it's a quirk of geology or the ruins of a lost city, the Yonaguni Monument remains one of the world's great enigmas. It sits in silence, current-swept and unbothered, as divers drift past, breathing slowly, eyes wide, hearts sometimes that's where the real adventure begins.
Thanks for diving in with me today. If you enjoyed this adventure, hit subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss the next one.